is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Back here, first things first, now joined by Greg Jennings. We're unveiling our newest segment this morning. We're calling it the Panic Meter. Instead of our guys panicking during commercial breaks, we're just going to go on live TV and panic in front of you, America. So here we go. We're talking Cam Newton. Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels is reportedly not very high on Cam. So, Nick, here we go. How panicked should Cam Newton be about not finding a team this season?
Well, it ain't great. The Patriots are obviously the best option because not only can they win right now, but they have the single worst quarterback situation of any team in the league. And so Cam has kind of been backed into a corner to where it's out of his hands, where he has to wait for what he believes to be an inevitable injury, an inevitable opening for him to walk into a starting quarterback spot. And I don't think this is the position he should be in. And I know that some folks believe he should just take a backup job anywhere he can get one. I don't think that is a reasonable ask of a player, not only of his caliber, but who was playing at a level, at such a high level the last time we saw him healthy. Here's an unbelievable stat that I haven't heard anyone mention, and I think folks watching at home are going to check to see if I'm right on this. Longest streaks in NFL history of at least 2 touchdown passes and 60% completions, meaning longest streaks of consistently high-level quarterback play. Well, there's Peyton Manning, his 55 touchdown year, Aaron Rodgers is 15 in 1 year, and Cam Newton, not his MVP year. Cam Newton in 2018. That streak was ongoing and continued a few games after the TJ Watt hit. The last time we saw Cam Newton healthy, 2018, he went into December with 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, a 104 quarterback rating, and still 5 yards per carry, and was in the middle of the 3rd longest streak of excellent quarterback play we've ever seen in the league. 70% completions. And now, 18 months later, he can't find a job. So, Wilds, it ain't great that he has to wait for an injury, but I understand why he's not signing up to go hold a clipboard somewhere when the last time he was healthy, he was playing the best football of his career, including that MVP season.
Yeah, this whole situation is weird, Greg. I know this question's not about Josh McDaniels, but I didn't like this quote from Josh McDaniels because if we put him on the panic meter, I would move him from stress-free, because I think they believe in Stidham, to compose. Because now if Stidham gets off to a slow start, everyone's going to be like, this guy, Cam's available, and he said he didn't like Cam, and it dates back to when he might have gotten the Panthers job. Thought the whole situation was weird, Greg.
Yeah, when it comes to Cam, I still feel like he should be composed because of everything that you're saying, Nick. And when we look at the New England Patriots, I can't honestly say that they have the worst quarterback situation. I can say they have the most uncertain quarterback situation, but we don't know what Jared Stidham is yet. So we haven't seen it. So if I'm Cam, I'm composed. Everything that you said, Nick, people know that. It's a matter of, number one, we're in a pandemic, so no one can actually physically see how healthy Cam Newton is. And lastly, he is coming off an injury. So he still needs to be on the field and showcase what he can do, not only to teams, but even to himself. He knows what he's done, but sometimes as a player, you have to do it over again to regain that confidence and swag.
Well, listen, I think it's a great point, Greg, and I think it's one of the reasons why he shouldn't rush to sign up for a backup job when maybe the biggest hurdle is simply you can't yet, and maybe you can soon, but right now you can't go to a team facility and let that doctor work you out. Maybe once that happens, the world changes for him. I talked to Ted Ginn Jr. last night, who had glowing things to say about how the season with Cam Newton turned his career around after it looked like he was on his way out of the league after the down year in Arizona. Ted Ginn, by the way, now plays for the Bears. My guess is he and the other players on the Bears would feel a lot better with Cam walking into that locker room than they did with Nick Foles or certainly with Mitch Trubisky, Jenna.
That's true.
All right, let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys and test your panic levels here. CEO Stephen Jones said he can lay his head on the pillow better at night knowing they signed Andy Dalton. Meanwhile, Dak hasn't slept in days. I'm not sleeping that well either, but whatever, it doesn't matter. We're not talking about that. Now, Wilds, how panicked should Dak be about the future with the Cowboys, his future?
I think we're talking like Modelo's on the beach. He as stress-free can be. And I think it's partly because of the ownership is saying, like, listen, the deal's going to get done. Don't worry about it. And it's partly because this latest quote that came out from Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton just unequivocally says, Dak is the starter of this team. He's played really well, and I knew the situation when I was coming in. I felt like I could come in here and help this team win. Obviously help Dak out as much as I can, and hopefully this sets me up for my future. The only weird part about this graphic is that Andy Dalton's actually got his hands on the football. It looks to be a game action play, and I don't think that will ever happen for the entire year, Greg.
I like that last point. Honestly, for me, I like the situation for Andy Dalton. I even like his approach. Typically, as a player, you wouldn't want to hear another player who can potentially be competing for a starting job talk about them not being the number one guy or potential to be that guy. But yeah, Dak should be composed. I mean, the Cowboys are composed. They understand what they have in Dak Prescott. It's just a matter of ironing out the numbers.
So listen, we all know the catchphrase that is taking America by storm, old people be lying.
Oh, no.
On the other end of the spectrum, here's a catchphrase that is rarely uttered, but I'm going to say it now. Wilds is exactly right. Wilds, you nailed it.
Whoa.
Stress-free is exactly how, see, I turned it around on you. What a great graphic. Old people be lying. I love that. Didn't even really apply here, but I had to kind of shoehorn it in. Here's why you should be stress-free and why Wilds is totally correct. Dak Prescott today could sign the Cowboys reportedly want to sign him to a 5-year contract of over $32 million per year. So there's no stress for Dak. If he wants to secure his future with Dallas, he calls him today and signs the contract. It's not like now that they've signed Andy Dalton, they've pulled that from the table. So, yeah, I agree. If Dak wants to be a Cowboy for the lion's share of his career, he could lock that in this morning. So I agree with Wilds 100%. Should be totally stress-free. Great job by Wilds.
Wow, good.
All right.
Surprising there.
Let's move on. Talk a little Very Big Ben. While fans are probably worried about how their quarterback will bounce back following elbow surgery, our Jay Glazer is a little more concerned about Ben Roethlisberger's fitness, saying, quote, first of all, let us not put the words fitness and Ben Roethlisberger together. They are allergic to each other. There is no fitness in Ben Roethlisberger. His idea of a great offseason workout program is doing one yoga session, playing golf, and drinking some beer. Greg, from one fitness guru to another, how panicked should the Steelers be about Big Ben's workout regimen? Or the lack thereof?
For the Steelers, this ain't great. This ain't great. And I love everything that Jay Glazer said. He knows a lot of players. Obviously, he has this facility, so he gets to see guys and their work ethic and what some guys have and what some guys don't have. And I think he's spot on with Ben Roethlisberger here. He's an older quarterback who feels like he has a position, and it's kind of a sense of entitlement. But I would err on the side of caution if I'm Ben Roethlisberger, because it's not as simple as just plug and play anymore when you're chasing the Baltimore Ravens now, and you have the Browns who are configuring a roster that could potentially push you even out of playoff contention. You ended up 8-8 last year without great quarterback play, below average quarterback play. They need Ben Roethlisberger to come in. All focus is football, and his health is going to be paramount.
Listen, Greg nailed it. Ben Roethlisberger is a champion, a first ballot Hall of Famer, and a great, great player in his time. And by the way, his time was relatively recently. He played really well before he popped his elbow. but he's also a guy that for some reason or another, we as a collective have just decided is not going to be in the bucket of players we consistently criticize, even though he engages in the behavior that we always criticize. He had some awful off-the-field stuff early in his career. He has not been a great teammate late in his career to Mason Rudolph and the young quarterbacks they drafted, whining about the draft picks and saying, not my job to help them. He consistently threw his coaches under the bus, and we now know he doesn't. I mean, we already knew because we could see it, but we now have further confirmation he's not really taking care of his body in the offseason. Like, this is not a guy who you would want to bet a lot of money is going to come into this year peak motivation, peak shape. No, look at it. I mean, we can see. I appreciate Jay Glazer confirming it, but I can see. And everyone's like, oh, it's the beard. The beard. Did he grow a beard on his stomach? Because, the beard, it can't be all of it. So, listen, this is who Ben is, and we'll see if that's going to play as a 38, 39-year-old quarterback. I don't know that it will, Wilds.
All right, Greg, I know that you've got full 2-hour routines just for your left deltoid, but don't you think there's a chance that Ben Roethlisberger has got just old man strength? They just, oh, there we go, boom. Isn't there just a chance that some guys don't need to work out as much as other guys?
What? Look, Wilds. Wilds, look at the predicament we're all in right now. And you tell me that this is a good optic look for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger, their quarterback looking out of shape, coming off a season where he wasn't even available because of injury.